Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Anne Manera, and this is a live color along this morning, kicking off volume 13 of the Color Along Variety Coloring Book. So excited about the 13th volume of this book. Scarlett says hello in the background. Paisley is dancing up a storm back here. So we are going to give it a few minutes for everyone to get here, right, Scarlett and Paisley? And today I am coloring with Chalk Pastels. So that's what I have to say about that. And we're going to give it a few minutes for everyone to get here, and then we will begin. Okay, so before we get started, we've got to say good morning to everyone, right? As the room is filling. Good morning, Heather. Hey, Jean Mellinger. Good morning, Alice. Mary Hannah's joined us this morning. Melody Jones. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Lisa. Lisa's saying her good morning and hooray. Yeah, I know. Right? Can you believe this? You know, last night I counted the number of color alongs that I've done from color along books, and 12 books times 22 color alongs. Let's hope that my math is correct. 264, right? 264 color alongs. So this is 265, number 265, right? Is that correct? That's right, right? 12 times 24, 12 times 22. Let's check my math. 264. So today is the 265th color along. So all I can say is, my God, thank you for spending 265 hours of your life watching these color alongs. So that part is just blows me away. Totally, totally amazing. So, hey, good morning, Cheryl Waters. So we're going to give it a couple more minutes because, you know, it's a holiday today, Columbus Day here in the United States. So maybe people are sleeping in or not paying attention to their typical, you know, Monday morning routine. But we're coloring this morning from volume 13, and a couple of things there's going to be a few things going to happen today at our color along meeting, as most people call them, right? We are going to color a page. We're going to take a look at the color along schedule. We're also going to take a look at the October schedule, which has had a little bit of a tweak to it. So I want to talk about that as far as what that means for color along books and the color along schedule. I'm actually looking at an error on this book right now as I speak. So let me see. So we are using Chalk Pastels today, and Chalk Pastel pencils. I have Stabilo. I have a 60-pack of these pencils, Chalk Pastel coloring pencils, and you could use sticks. You could use any brand. You can. It's never about using only one brand. Hey, good morning, Lynn Miller. Good morning, Donnie. Good morning, Diana. It's never about using one brand of a coloring product in my world. So you can use any product you would like. And this is a 60-pack. All right, now I'm not going to lie. These are a little expensive. So not going to lie about that. I only have them because someone sent these to me as a gift. And I was just like completely speechless. These are probably one of my favorite things to color with. And I like them because they're easy to blend, and it's like you're doing a painting in a way. So they have this tin set here, a huge variety of colors. It comes with a pencil sharpener, and it comes with an eraser, which is seen better days right now. But I usually just blend with them with my fingers. And I love using these pencils on grayscale coloring pages, which is what we're coloring today. So grayscale illustration page is especially great for these colored pencils, these chalk pastels, as well as oil pastels. Hey, Alice is saying, I would spend more time watching color alongs with you if you were doing more. Oh, Alice, thank you so much. You know, let's talk about the change to the color along schedule, since Alice has brought that up. Thank you for putting a bug in my ear, Alice. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this change to the schedule. So originally, the color alongs that starts today for volume 13. We're kicking off and starting, and we were going to meet on Mondays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. However, I decided to make a change because a couple of people, and I mean two people, made a comment that it seemed like it was a little much or a lot to keep up with. And even if one person tells me something, I always take that into serious consideration, because if only one person speaks up, then there could be 10 more people that are thinking the same thing but just have not said anything. So those two people could have meant that there were way more people. So I took that into serious consideration and said, you know what, before we begin and before we get involved in this commitment for the next X amount of weeks and Monday and Thursdays, let's make a decision. So over the weekend, I think it was Thursday or Friday, I made the decision that color alongs for color along volume 13 will only meet on Mondays at 10 a.m. So we are together for the next 22 weeks every Monday morning. Now, two things I want to say about this. First of all, two things about camp. Camp starts next Sunday, the 20th, so we will not be coloring. There will not be a color along next Monday because of coloring camp. So if you're part of coloring camp, that's where we'll be. The other thing I want to say about that is sometime in January, I don't know the exact date yet, there'll be winter camp, and then an adjustment will be made to the schedule, which is what I usually end up doing, okay? The other thing I want to say about this, Alice made a comment that if I was live doing color alongs more, she would watch more. And when I made the decision to drop down to only Mondays for this book, a lot of people said I really was looking forward to 2 days a week. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if you take a look at the October schedule, and I'm going to pop it up on the screen right now, hopefully it'll be up there in a couple of minutes here, or like a second. If you take a look at that October schedule, you'll see that not only am I coloring for my own books for October, but I'm coloring from books for other artists too, as we go into the next couple of months. So I have a color along actually this Friday for Dawn Boyer. We just did one on the 11th for Dawn Boyer. I've got a couple more scheduled for her in November, and I also have color along scheduled in November that will be scheduled in November for a few other artists. So just because color alongs are only happening on Mondays does not mean that I'm only going to be doing color alongs on Mondays. Okay? Does that make sense? A couple more people have joined. Hey, good morning, Dawn. Good morning, Alexandria. Melissa Eldridge, thanks for joining me. Melissa has followed my coloring books since I started. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Good morning, Bonnie Hughes. Hey, Sarah. Sarah, I hope you feel better today. Who else has joined us today that's not saying it? If you're here, say hello. Make a comment. Say hello. I don't like to, I try not to say much unless you've said something. So it's going to be kind of my new way of doing that. All right. So let me just get a couple other things out of the way here. Let's get Scott. Hey, Scott, look what I have for you. Come here. Let's get her to stop crying first. So first of all, once the color along is complete today, we are coloring the very first page in this book. So we're going in order, which is a feat in itself that I'm not organized, let me tell you. So we're going in order of this book. So here's the page that we're working on today, which is the first page of the book. Today we're using Chalk Pastels. This page can also be found in this book, Simple Objects. So the way the color alongs will be working, here it is. Hey, Sharon. The way this page can also be found in Simple Objects, which is this book. So the way the color alongs will be working, a couple of little changes, some tweaks that I've done for color along volume 13. The way this is going to happen is we'll be coloring along. I'll be also reviewing the book for each day that the page is originally from, so you can kind of get an idea. Where's that book from? We'll be talking about the product that we're using. We will be, once the video is over, then the video will also be uploaded to my YouTube channel after this, and then the link to my YouTube video will be placed on my website. So what I'm trying to do, and then you can access the replay of the video here on my Facebook page or you can go to my website and you can click on Color Along Volume 13, and you'll see a link to that. So what I'm trying to do with Color Along Volume 13 is scale back is to where everything is, all the videos are. So it's kind of just all like, I don't know how I want to describe it, but you just kind of, I just want to make sure that everything is easier to find and that there's not so many places that everything is, and it's just kind of a little more organized. So Lynn is making a comment that, and I want to show you that actually. Lynn says, I colored the small versions from volume 1 last night, always a fun page to color. You know, what Lynn's talking about is that in the Simple Objects book and in volume 1, is it volume 1 or was it, oh, in the volume 1, are you talking about the coloring handbook, Lynn? You must be talking about the coloring handbook. There's a grayscale tutorial in my coloring handbook, volume 1 from this book. And what Lynn's talking about is that in this Simple Objects book, there's full-size pages, but then there's pages like this, which have a smaller version. And what's cool about these is that it gives you a second opportunity to color the same illustration in a smaller version. And then you can take these and you can use them for other things like crafting, or these would make a great card. You can frame them. They're always a fun page to color. I think that grayscale illustration pages give you stunning results without much effort. Does anyone, I'm sure that a lot of people, I think a lot of people agree with that are watching, because I just know from what everyone has said. So what we're going to do this morning is I've got this set of this, I love these pencils. They're from Stabilo, a little pricey. I think this is like $60. They're like $1 a pencil. And it has chalk pastel pencils, and basically all it is the pastel is inside the, like it's a pencil is what it is. I usually try to sharpen them in my electric pencil sharpener, and as I'm doing it, I'm basically like holding my breath, saying a prayer, and crossing my fingers that they're not going to jam my pencil sharpener. And if all else fails, I break out my X-Acto knife. Band-Aid at hand, and break out my X-Acto knife. So I don't need to place anything underneath this page as far as bleed through. However, I will in fact put something underneath this page, only because as I press on the page, I don't want the page behind it to have any marks on it. So I'm going to take a piece of cardstock. I happen to have blue cardstock. I'm not supposed to use blue on it in a video. It kind of changes the color. Remember I did that one day? It was weird. Hey, Marianne. Lisa says, amen to that. What are we saying amen to? I don't know. Could have been a million things that I just said, right? Yeah, the little ones are cute. Aren't they, Heather? I agree with you. So I'm going to get started here with these don't have names, but they do have numbers, and it's number 1400/330. They're kind of in gold, and under the lights, it's a little bizarre. I'm going to start on the left side of the page so that I'm mindful of where my hand is being placed. And I'm just going to use them just like a colored pencil. And on a grayscale illustration page, the cool part about it is that all you have to do is simply follow along with the lights in the darks we don't know who this is, right? Rachel from Card Services calling me? Yeah, we don't know who that is. I'm just going to let it ring. A little effort, great results. Thank you, Lisa. Don't you think that more of life should be about little efforts? Great results? I think so. I can think of many things off the top of my head. I can think of a million things off the top of my head that should be like turned into great little effort with better results. Now I'm kind of coloring, imagine this is a ball, okay? And I want to kind of make sure that I'm moving my pencil in the direction of the object. And what that will do is magically make it look like it is three-dimensional. Like you can actually kind of see that that's a round object, right? So, and the other part here is that I am considering that up here in this corner is kind of my light source. So here is, imagine a light bulb shining onto this still life here. And these sides here where there's no color, or the lightest part, is where the light is shining, and the other side of it where it's darker is not getting any light, so it's a little bit darker. So that's how these were drawn. When I drew these, did you guys see how I drew these actually? Do I have my sketch? Let me see if I have that book. I'll show you that. When I did these drawings in this book, for this type of page, I I used these chalk pastels actually, and I did them in full color. So here are the pages that go with that Simple Objects book. And I just basically created these very simple objects. I mean, there's not rocket science to this coloring book industry. You just have to be kind of simple, right? I just created these very simple illustrations and drawings with chalk pastels, color pencils, chalk pastel coloring pencils, and I just then scanned them into my computer and turned them into black and white so that they became grayscale so that you can color them. But these are actually originals. And I did them on these smaller size, what size is this book? 7 by 10. This is a 7-inch by 10-inch book. The other thing that happened here with this book, with these drawings, is that the paper that I used was more of a paper that had more of a tooth. We talk about that paper tooth a lot. I don't know why they're all upside down. And with all of this blending and shading, that's how it became, a lot of pivoting here, Lynn, huh? That's how it became this grayscale illustration book. So I thought that was the one that we were using, but that's not it. So that's what ended up happening with this book. So I drew a lot of these, I think, live too. And this looks familiar, right? I did a painting of this last week. But that's how it started. It started as this, and we basically, by making this side of it dark and this side of it light, then that whole pretty much created the grayscale that was there. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Barb. It's Alexandria. What are we talking about, Heather? So that's where this came from. That's the kind of like how this book was, this illustration and this page was actually born. So I'm going to just color on top of all of that. So here is where those darks and those lights, and that's basically what ends up happening. So if I use the same pressure as I'm coloring, those darks and those lights will just kind of magically, it's kind of like magic, right? Magically make it appear. Or make it look like it's a totally different thing. The other thing that happens too with chalk pastels is it kind of looks, you know, when you're doing something and you get to the point where you're like, boy, that looks really bad. You know, when things look their worst, and then all of a sudden, oh, Alexandria calling me. I'm going to get Alexandria on the phone one of these days. What do you think, Alexandria? She should call me right now, and then I'll talk to her. How about that? That would be so funny. Okay, so we're going to get her on the phone one of these days, Heather. I'm telling you. All right, so now we've got this whole, wherever it's dark, I'm using a little bit of a heavy pressure. Now what ends up happening is I'm going to blend this. So let's take another color. I'm just going to use basic white. I don't know what's going on with this pencil. What is happening with you, pencil? All right, there we go. And I'm just going to use this on the lighter side of this object. I'm just going to call it an object rather than a vase. I mean, kind of a vase, I guess, right? And then I am going to use my fingers. So it's messy. If you don't want to get your hands dirty, this is not for you. You know, if you're one of those people that, you know, touches tomatoes and says, ooh, this is icky, then this might not be for you. But I don't think we have any of those people here. Do we? Do we have any of those people here? I don't know. So I'm just kind of blending that with it. We don't want it to look hairy or grainy. And what will stop that hairiness is basically once I kind of blend it. As I'm blending it, I'm going to kind of push it into the page. Scarlett's on the job today back there. Let me tell you, she's got a lot going on in the neighborhood. She's got a list going on. I think Scarlett might need like a camera or something on her head. I'm going to take some brown and I'm going to mix that with this burgundy color on this side. And just kind of adding the colors first. Now, the other thing Lynn's going to say, here she goes again, she's going to say the same thing. Grayscale. I always say, don't outline grayscale because there is, I mean, you could, but let's think about it. It's like the real world. Does the real world have outlines around anything? Are there actual outlines around, like, you know, the lamp across from you, or a bowl? So think of it that way. All right, so now I've got all this kind of brownish burgundy happening. And then I'm just going to basically kind of push my fingers into it. And I'm going to start on this side and kind of blend in the direction of what we just added the color too. It's kind of like just add the color, right? And look what just happened. Now, how do we make this so that it looks like it's lighter on this side? Because remember, this X, that's a light bulb, right? So there's a light source kind of beaming across. My coloring handbook, I agree with you. Thank you, Alice. I agree with you. I think art is all about getting into it with your hands. Lynn is using a paper towel. Are you going to be the person that says, ooh, icky for the tomatoes, Lynn? I don't know. I have paper towel with me, actually. I'll do that also. There's a page in my Coloring Handbook Volume 2 that talks about the light source and explains that whole direction. If you haven't seen that, that book has a lot of information about the light source. So I'm going to take this eraser. You can use a kneaded eraser. I don't know if I'm too lazy to get up, though. Or you don't use a pencil eraser, though, because it's going to make it look weird. And we're going to now remove the color. So the removal of the color, get my little broom, removal of the color is also just as important as applying the color, because that's how we kind of create that light and that dark. I'm using a brush to sweep away. Doesn't have any paint on it. I mean, it did long ago, but that was about it. And I'm just kind of basically making it go away. So, simple enough, right? Any questions about what we're doing so far? Because what I really want to be able to happen with Color Along Volume 13, and usually, I mean, with all the other volumes too, I've had this intention, is that I really kind of want everyone to walk away with whatever technique we're going over and be able to apply that to any coloring page from anybody's coloring book, and just keep applying it and just keep building and building on whatever things you've learned throughout. So now I'm using orange. I'm going to use some orange, right? It's my favorite color. But it's a good contrast between this and this. So I'm going to use I'm kind of using it on an angle a little bit. I love tomatoes too, Lynn. They're like one of my favorite foods. I kind of want to say that I eat tomato every single day. It's like food you just can't live without. I'm boring when it comes to food though, Lynn. I usually eat a lot of the same food every day. It keeps me from having to make a decision. All right, so there's my orange. I'll say it orange for Alexandria's benefit. And then I'm going to kind of do it a little lighter. But now I'm not changing the pressure, because all I have to do is use the same pressure. And because it's a grayscale illustration page, then it will also look like it's dark and light. You're right, Mary. There's always soap and water. Exactly. Wash your hands, right? And now in this side here, I am using it as a darker section. Now, one of the things that I did do when I drew these was that on the object itself here, on the face of it, here this side of it is, the left side of it is darker and the right side is light. But on the inside of the object, for those of you who have done this as a painting with me, many of you have actually, on the inside of the object, then this right side becomes dark and the left side becomes light. And I did that so it kind of flips it a little bit, so it made it look like a little more three-dimensional. And I guess it was kind of entertaining, I don't know. So I'm just kind of giving it a little bit of a same pressure here. I'm going to take my sweeper to kind of get my dust off there. And then let's take another color, maybe even a yellow. Let's take a yellow color. This is number 210. And I'm going to kind of go on top of my orange, where the lighter parts are, and even where the darker parts are. And then I'm going to take maybe like a brown and go on top of the darker part. So not just one color is being used, we're using a variety of colors. Put some yellow there. And now I'll take, let's see if it'll sharpen. How about that? Let's give that a test. See, this one looks like it needs to be sharpened. I don't know. Cross your fingers, say a prayer, hold your breath. Yeah, say it didn't work. Kind of iffy. Yeah, it's getting stuck. Let's see if I have my blade. I'll show you how to do it that way. Okay, so if it doesn't sharpen on a pencil sharpener like that, then I just go back to the old school way of Please don't try this at home. I have to preface it by that. And just basically kind of hold it on a little bit of an angle, and I'm basically kind of scraping the wood off the pencil. Please be careful if you decide to do this. I guess I need a don't try this at home disclaimer here, right? Okay, I'm gonna leave that the way it is. Pop that over there. And then I'm gonna go with brown on top of what is here. Be careful, Lynn. Be careful, Lisa, when you use that blade. Okay, so now I'm using some brown on top of the orange. Nice fall colors, isn't it? And again, the same direction. So if I'm kind of going in that arching motion, don't cut yourself. One time I did cut myself on camera. That was pretty crazy. I've had many, many times of stitches from those blades, Alice. Now it's like if I cut myself, I have more of an attitude of, more of like angry that I cut myself, you know, inconvenient. All right, so there, see kind of how I did a little bit of a darker, heavier pressure right there because I want it to differentiate itself between the top and the bottom. And now I'm just going to use my fingers once again, press into the dark, kind of switch fingers a little bit. If I was on a cooking show, I would have a sink, right? I'd be able to wash my hands like Mary said. But I'll just kind of wipe them off. Sometimes mine does sharpen in the electric sharpener. Lynn, I think maybe my pencil had stage fright today, so I don't know. That could be it. All right, so now we're on to our third object. And I'm thinking that could kind of be maybe a bluish color because we got to kind of think about what we're going to do to the background. So let's go with blue. Or maybe green. Should we go with green? Let's mix a little bit of blue and make a turquoise color. All right, so we've got this green here. And again, sometimes you don't have to really worry about what it looks like as you're coloring it with chalk pastels because you end up making it, this is the final result. So it's still, again, one of those things that it looks really bad before it starts to look good. You know, it gets to the point where it's truly at the ugly stage. You know, we all have those moments where it's like, oh my God, this is looking really bad. All right, so got my green. And now I'm gonna go with kind of a blue color. I've got this turquoise blue right here. Bonnie is asking a very good question. Makes sense, right, Bonnie? Bonnie says, why not try and use the sharpener that came with the pencils? I don't know what it is, Bonnie, but I'll try it, but these handheld sharpeners and I just do not get along. I'll try it, but I think maybe let's see. I think maybe because oh, this one's not bad, actually. I never have good luck with these, Bonnie. But I don't really like the actual point that pencil gives. I feel like it's almost too pointy. But I'm going to go on the end anyway. But yeah, that would make more sense, right, Bonnie? I mean, let's... All right, so there's my turquoise on top of my blue. And here again where that darker area is, but I'm doing it also here. Kind of looks like a sea green, it kind of looks like a sea green, right? And then I am going to kind of take advantage of that little bit of a point there for the rim, but not too much because I don't want to really outline it. I just want it to kind of give the illusion that that is the rim of the cup. I think that pencil sharpeners are such a personal preference, you know. But you know, Mary says I'm old school. I'm using the pastel sticks. Yeah, and that works out fine too. I just thought I would have fun with these today and break them out. I'm just kind of removing some of my color that went on the spots where I didn't want it. Hey, Judy. I'll make sure that I don't bleed Alice. I don't want you to faint on us. So, and I'm going to remove a little bit of color here. Just a little bit. Not a lot. Because remember, that's kind of the lighter part. Just like we did for this section. And I'm not removing it completely, so you can still kind of see what's there. And then I've got this blue section here, and I'm going to go back in now with some white for my lighter side and use this kind of as a colorless blender. You know, we use a colorless blender sometimes with regular colored pencils. Yeah, good question. Is anyone using pan pastels? That's a good question, Alice. I've got to get my hands on some pan pastels. I've been using makeup instead, right? I used makeup the other day. I don't know if I'm going to be using that makeup anymore, though. I got to tell you, that makeup was just like, only resulted in kind of like a headache for the rest of the day. All right, so I'm not going to remove the color on this object because I like how that white looks, but I am going to go back in with my fingers and kind of smush it in, you know, official art term, smush it in. Now let's take a look and think about where, what colors would kind of complement what's going on here. So yellow would certainly complement if we did yellow in the background and kind of really make it pop. But we want to also be mindful of how, you know, this bowl looks more yellow on camera than it does in person. In person, it definitely looks orange. I could do kind of a lime green going on back there. And then the table, I'm just going to kind of go with a brownish red for the table. So I'm actually going to do the table first because I feel like this brownish red color, along with maybe this eggplant color maybe mixed in with it, will make it pop. So let's start out with our table. And I'm just going to do a heavy pressure, or medium pressure actually, or same. How about that? Just same pressure. Just the same pressure for the whole area of the table. And I think that these chalk pastels kind of make you feel like you do need practice with them, just like any other colored pencil. Sharon says, I'm using stick chalk pastels. What brand are you using, Sharon? Because I have a variety. I used them the other day, and they were like a disaster. Some other pencils chalk pastels that are out there, some other brands that are really nice. General makes a really nice brand. Pan pastels, Bonnie, are, they look like makeup. They're very expensive. That's all I know about pan pastels. But they kind of look like eyeshadow. Here's my eggplant. I'm putting it a little bit underneath this object here. So see how I kind of made that tiny line? And then I'm kind of smoothing it out because I want it to look like it's sitting on top of something without making it look like it's outlined. You know? You don't want to make it look like it has like an outline under it, but just by putting that tiny little dark line under there, it kind of makes it pop out. Oh, Artist Loft, I have those. Those are actually very nice. You know what I like about those is they're not, they're kind of light. When I mean, say light in weight, you know? Those are good ones, actually. You know, you don't need expensive stuff. And, you know, chalk pastels, if you buy really expensive ones, you know, it's not, first of all, they're really expensive. And second of all, I mean, what are you doing with them? You know, I'm not trying to discount anyone coloring, but, they're just way or more overpriced or a really expensive product to really, consider using, on a coloring page. I mean, that's my opinion. There's so many different products out there that are not expensive, that don't get enough attention, I guess. So for this one right here, I kind of put that shadow. Because remember, this is the light source up here, this X that's at the top. Up in this right-hand corner. And that's kind of shining down. So therefore, if the light is happening here, it's kind of like grazing across the page, as if this pencil is laying there. Then this may be casting a shadow. Place an object on the table. Place something, let me see if I'll get a shadow here. I don't think I will. If you place something on the table, I don't know if you can see that shadow that's being cast. See this cup? it has, this is my cup for paintbrushes, not to drink out of, but see how there's a shadow right there that's being cast? So that's kind of what I'm simulating, is that type of shadow that's being cast there. And I just kind of did that with that eggplant color. And then I'm just going to go in and kind of smush this into the page, rub it in. It's like rubbing salt into the wound, right? And just kind of blow it off. And that's the end of my table. Okay? So we've got to talk about the top. So how are we doing so far? Any questions? Michael's brand is, Artist Loft is a Michael's brand, yes. And I think you can also buy it on, what is that other website? Crafters, it's not Crafters Choice. There's another website that has that. The pan pastels, I think that was you talking about, Alice. They're not dusty. They're creamy. And I think that is the advantage. But man, that eyeshadow I used the other day was very dusty. I won't be using that. I have to get a different product. Okay. So now let's talk about this top portion. I'm going to go with this yellow because I think it'll really contrast the green, or the turquoise we've got going on here, contrast this pink color here and this orange. And what I am going to do is pivot. Can you please move the little dirty? What are you talking about, Lisa? Move the little dirty. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Lisa, but I've pivoted my page. I flipped it upside down. And the advantage to doing this is two things. First of all, I'm not going to get my hand on this. But the other part is if you do this, you will now subconsciously focus on what you're coloring and the areas that you're coloring, rather than thinking, this is what I'm coloring and this is what it should look like. So you're only going to focus on the technique that you're using. Does that make sense? I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So I'm going to go in with my yellow here. And I'm going to have to add another color to this yellow back here. Maybe we could add maybe a deep orange. I have kind of a reddish orange that's calling my name from the side over there. Yeah, that's kind of a deep orange. So there's my lights and darks kind of on the side. I guess the biggest advantage to using these pastels in pencil form is that you have a point to them versus the stick pastels. But, you know, once you get moving with them, it's really personal choice. So she means the little sign that says color along. Okay. Thank you, Dawn. Dawn is the interpreter for me. Thank you. Ditty. The ditty? Is that what we're calling that? You don't like my little ditty? My little thing that says color along? I'm going to send you a pin that has that. How about that? This way you can wear it wherever you go. Hello, Alexandria. Alexandria, we were talking earlier that we were I'm going to call you. I'm going to get you on the phone during one of these color alongs because my phone was ringing earlier. And we were thinking, Alice was thinking it was, or Heather was thinking it was you. Hey, at least it wasn't my own number calling me, right? No, it's not permanent, Lynn. Lynn, you know what it is? It's this, well, I'm going to tell you how I get that on there. It's these, I use this very high-tech way of doing these videos. I consider it high-tech anyway. It's not directly through Facebook, right? So you go on Facebook. I'll tell you the little the dirt about the behind the scenes of doing a Facebook Live. When you do a Facebook Live video, you just go to your Facebook page and you click live, right? And it immediately broadcasts live. That's how it happens. Broadcast live. I'm going to call you one day, Alexandria, in the middle of a color along, and you're going to be like speechless, right? So you go on Facebook, you click live. And that makes you go live from your phone or your computer or however it is. However, I don't do it that way. I use this app that I have on my phone. And what it does is it's connected to Facebook. And when I click on live for Facebook, it gives me the opportunity to add the little ditty that's in the corner, all these little graphics. Sometimes you'll see me flip over where I'll say, okay, look at the calendar on the screen, and rather than me putting a piece of paper on the desk, a little thing will come up, and then at the beginning of the color along, the graphics there. So that app allows me to do all of that stuff. Plus, I can put a description. It's all this, like, you know, I don't even know. High tech, I guess. So that's how that happens. If I was to just use regular Facebook direct, you know, it doesn't work that way. That's how I get that little thing. So I can play around with that when I don't, it's not a permanent thing that's on, it's not like it's on the screen, like it's stuck on the glass, you know? It's called a lower third in the video editing jargon, you know? All right, so here's my orange Alexandria. I'm going to call it orange Alexandria from now on. All right, I'm just kind of adding a little bit of this deeper orange color here. And again, I'm not going to outline that bowl, but I am going to look at something. Oh, look, a bug just crawled right across my desk, but I guess not. Just kind of giving it a little bit of this color. And then here. Here again, because these are all the dark areas are, right? Remember that? And of course, this is really looking like, you know, not really very good before we get it to go. Oh, little ditty about Jack and Diane. I know, now I'm singing that song. Thank you very much. Don't you hate when you get a song stuck in your head like that? It's a ditty. Okay, Lisa. I'm telling you. Okay, so there is that section there. Now, I'm going to flip over. Hey, Julie. Thank you, Marianne. And now I'm really going to push it in there. I'm going to just kind of blend it in. You know, that technical term. I don't really know if it's a technical term. Smush it in. Maybe I need a t-shirt that says smush it in. That would be funny. Kind of remove a little bit of that icky color there. Kind of made a brownish color, but that's good. And then I'm going to kind of go where my lightest parts are and kind of remove. Not too much, because you don't want to take it completely away, right? You're going to be like mindful of what's there. And then sometimes what I like to do when when these are complete is just kind of draw like a border around it. Almost kind of look like a frame in a way. But there are a few things I am going to do to this before we even do that. I'm going to add a little bit of white. And what's nice about these is if you get some color on it, you can just kind of color it off. Wouldn't that be nice if everything in the world looked like that? It's like you can just like rub off the bad. All right, so I'm going to just kind of color white on top of where these light colors are to really kind of make it pop. Doesn't have to be dark. It always kind of works in the, you know, to make something pop. It can always be something that is a little lighter. You can do the whites to make it pop. And then I'm going to put some white here also. Just kind of see if that makes it pop. Kind of almost like flicking it. Wipe off the bad. Flicking it a little bit. And adding some white here. So a lot of layers go into it. You know, you don't want to... you know, this reminds me of, you know, it's just like all this layering. It's just really kind of an attention to detail that maybe only you know about, that you did all that. You don't, when it's finally shown, it's like cooking something, you know. Maybe people don't know that you added, I don't know, parsley at the end or in the middle or something, right? But in the end result, it's a totally different result. Does that make sense? We have people that cook. I'm sure we have people that cook. Okay. Where is that burgundy color? Where did you go? Kind of put a little bit of a, kind of touching up as I'm going. All right. I'm going to call this complete. Just want to wipe it off a little bit. And I am going to go back in with my black. And I'm going to add a little bit of, I'm going to add a black, so like a black frame to it. With my pencil. Thank you, Bonnie Miller. So what I love about Chalk Pastels is that the results are stunning at the end with very little effort. Plus, combine that with a grayscale illustration page, and again, stunning results with very little effort. So I don't know about you, but that's my mission in life. Great results with little effort. Gotta find some more things to do like that, right? Rather than having to, it's like work smart, not hard. Some people don't like that noise, right? Nails on a chalkboard. Just kind of giving it a nice line around the edge. Okay, and that's complete. Easily something you could frame, right? Something you could kind of cut out and add to a, what the heck just fell? Something fell. Scarlett, don't worry about it. Scarlett's always concerned when something falls. Doesn't it look dimensional? Completely, right? So you could easily take this out of the book and you could easily frame it. Now, what do you do with this once it is in this book? It's complete. And how do you protect it? I would just pop another piece of paper on top of it. See if I have a piece of paper. Paper is like, you know, short supply sometimes. I would just pop a piece of paper on top of it to keep it in the book. You could spray it with a fixative. You could spray it with hairspray. Some people disagree about the hairspray situation because they think that maybe it would, in fact, yellow it. I mean, it depends what you're going to do with it. You could photograph it and you could print it out and then you could get this result. So I'm just going to pop this piece of paper on top of it and then it is complete. So what I'd like to do next is let's take a flip through of the Simple Objects book. So this is the book that this page came from. And this book is the horizontal version, so the orientation is like this. And it just basically has all of these pages that are simple, simply drawn, simple setup, really intended to kind of teach you to color with more confidence because you'll have great results. Also be able to, thank you, Julie. I pride myself in my straight lines. Or something that you'll be able to color with really, really great results with ease, and something that you can actually take and do something else with. So this book is really a lot of fun. 8.5 by 11-inch book for this one. So this is actually, I have two books that are in this style. But you know, you look at it and you're like, wow, what the heck? But what the results are just can be really interesting. This is really good to use with colored pencils, chalk pastels, oil pastels. Remember this one? I drew this one live. Didn't I draw this one live? I think Alice remembers that, or Heather. Because somebody told me I forgot to put it in one of the books. The first book, I think I forgot to put it in. So then I had to do another one because I had this extra page kind of floating around. And then this book has these these pages with 4. And I think they're fun. The other thing that is fun to color with these, used to color these, is crayon. Crayon does a really, really nice job with coloring these. And I think that the results are just incredible once you, I mean, just simple crayons, right? So that's where this page is from. It is from Simple Objects, and there's 2 copies of every page in this book. And I've used chalk pastels today. We use Stabilo chalk pastels. And what I want to take a moment to talk to you about today before we do anything else is I want to make sure that those of you that maybe popped in a little later are made aware that the color along schedule for volume 13, it should be on the screen by now. The color along schedule for volume 13 is going to be a little bit different than what I had originally planned. It was originally planned as Mondays and Thursdays, but I have changed the schedule, so now it is Mondays. Mondays at 10 a.m. for the next 22 weeks until March 16th is when we meet with this book. It's going in order of the book, the pages in the book, And the other thing is that each page is listed on the screen that you see right now on the schedule will tell you the technique that we're using on that day. The other thing that's happening is when I list it on the calendar, I'm listing the medium. So if you take a look at the October calendar, it will tell you what actual medium I'm using. So for example, for the next color along we have, which is on the 28th, because next week we do not have a color along because of coloring camp. So on the 28th, we will be meeting again and we'll be tackling pointillism, which is all dots. We'll be using markers. Then we're going to be dealing with textures, cubism, just a number 2 pencil, blend and shade, crayons and oil, Mondrian, warm colors, gel pens, oil pastels, monochromatic, bolding, Andy Warhol, just 5 colors, pop art, tie-dye, impressionism, stained glass, tea-stained, watercolors, and doodling. So this book, Color Along Volume 13, I think is a really action-packed book. I think that of all books, of all the Color Along books, I think this is like the best one so far. Took me this is like the Lucky 13, I guess, right? We'll call it Lucky 13. So the next page we will color in 2 weeks from today will be this Dog Angels page. I'll be using markers. We'll be coloring in the pointillism style. And again, all of the videos for color alongs will always be here on my Facebook page. At the end of the video from now on, I will be downloading the video off of Facebook and I'll be posting that same color along video. I mean, not unedited, so you'll still be able to hear all the conversation onto YouTube. And then that link will be on my website. So that will all happen like within 48 hours. So by Wednesdays, those videos will be up on YouTube. Because sometimes it takes a while for it to actually load onto my computer from Facebook. So that's what's going to happen going forward. So that's kind of a little bit of a change for Volume 13. Is that everything is remaining here on my Facebook page. So you won't have any problem accessing replay videos. And then from now on, I'll be uploading the videos to YouTube, so you could go to YouTube and you could watch it. What that will do is allow you to watch it on a different device. And that is the biggest reason why I'm doing it. I'm doing that so that you could go back in and you can watch the replay from your couch, because you can watch YouTube from your TV, or you can watch while you're lying in bed, nothing to do at 2 a.m., pop on YouTube, and you can watch a replay of a color along. So, and I have so many other color alongs and so many other videos on my YouTube channel. It just won't be live on YouTube, but the replay will be on YouTube. Does that make sense to everyone about that little bit of a change? You know, I've tried to do that in the past, but I honestly have not kept up. So my plan is to keep up this time. I don't know if it's going to work. No, I think it will. I've got kind of more of a schedule of a schedule to keep up with it. So the page you've colored today, feel free to post it on as many coloring groups as you want, because the biggest thing about today's about these color alongs is that it's a good way to share your finished pages with the coloring community, and that kind of spreads the words, not the word, but spreads the words about different books. So I think that this is my favorite thing to color. If I could color, I don't usually color my own books, but if I was going to color any of my own books, I think these are the ones I would do. So, all right. So and the other thing is that even though we've dropped down to Monday, right? It's only Mondays for this book. I'm still going to be live with other color alongs for other people. So I've got a color along coming up this Friday, the 18th, from one of Dawn Boyer's books. Unsure about what book it's going to be, because we're kind of waiting on a delivery. But more information will be posted. The final information will be posted on Wednesday about which book that will be. So far, it's a new book, but if I don't get it delivered, then I have a stack of books from Dawn that she sent me that I can pick from. So Sharon says, this color along was fun. Oh, thank you. Wish I had known that pastels came in pencil form. The chalk sticks I used were nice, but dusty and messy. Sharon, you need to, I need to show you these, actually. I'll have to show them to you. I think I've had them with me, though, haven't I? I don't know. I'll have to show these to you. And I think that's about it. Any questions, just let me know. We meet next Sunday is coloring camp. An email will go out on Wednesday to kind of confirm and kind of give you a kind of a wrap up of what is happening for coloring camp and what is what you need to expect, and kind of just like a final email. And it'll talk about communication and exactly what's going to be happening for that whole week. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We have a lot of people. I think we have over 30 people that are participating in coloring camp so far. If you've not signed up yet, there's still time. As long as you get your book, you can get the PDF. What was the last thing I wanted to tell you? Oh, the last thing I wanted to tell you is that my coloring handbooks are now available in PDF form on my website. So if you do not want to get the paperback version on Amazon, you can get the book in PDF on my website. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to say it. There is no other coloring tutorial book out there that is similar to this book, or that is like on the same level of this book, that is available in a PDF. So I decided to do that because there's a lot of people that are not able to get the actual book. Okay. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Hey, have a great day. And I will see everyone on Friday, hopefully. And I will talk to everyone soon. Thanks.